All right, so today we're going to be diving into something pretty cool. Um, how do you upgrade a massive database, like a really huge one, without any downtime?
Yeah, it's a question a lot of people ask.
Exactly. And the secret sauce for TiDB lies in this component called TiProxy.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're listening and you don't know what TiDB is, it's basically like a really popular distributed SQL database.
Yeah, one of the best.
Yeah, and this is for folks who maybe aren't familiar. So just to give you an idea, imagine like a busy e-commerce platform. Tons of customers browsing, adding stuff to their cart, checking out.
Black Friday.
Yeah, exactly like Black Friday. And now imagine you need to upgrade the database behind all of that without those users, missing a beat. That's what TiProxy makes possible.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty amazing when you think about how much downtime costs companies.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, unplanned downtime, it just translates right into lost revenue and frustrated customers. And TiProxy just completely eliminates that risk, potentially saving companies literally millions of dollars every year.
Okay, so TiProxy helps avoid downtime. But what exactly is this thing?
You can think of TiProxy as like a smart middleman that sits between your applications and the TiDB servers.
Okay.
It's almost like a traffic cop.
Okay.
Directing requests, making sure that everything is flowing smoothly.
Yeah.
Even when you're doing things like upgrading or scaling the database behind the scenes.
I like that analogy, a traffic cop. That's really good. So walk me through how this traffic cop actually works. Like, how does it actually direct all this traffic?
Sure. So it's a four-step process.
Right.
First, the client application sends a request to TiProxy.
Okay.
It could be something like, hey, fetch me the details for this product, something like that.
Right. Okay.
And then TiProxy authenticates the connection, making sure that it's legitimate.
Right. Security first.
Right, exactly. And then it uses a load balancing algorithm to pick the best TiDB server to handle that specific request.
So it's picking the best server every single time.
Every single time. And it's almost like choosing the shortest checkout line at the grocery store.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that you're going to the one that can handle the request the fastest.
Yeah, yeah.
And then finally, that server processes the request and sends the results back to the application, through TiProxy.
So it's basically just this like middleman that's making sure everything's talking to each other correctly.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
And the real magic happens, I'm guessing, when you need to do things like upgrade a TiDB server or restart it.
Exactly.
Like that's where things could get a little dicey.
Imagine a server needs to go offline for a critical security patch.
Right.
Without TiProxy, you'd have to schedule downtime, and that could potentially impact your users and, of course, your bottom line.
Yeah, exactly.
But with TiProxy, things happen a little bit differently. What it does is it actually migrates the connections from that server that's going offline to other healthy servers in the cluster. It's kind of like changing lanes on the highway.
Sure.
You don't even really notice it happening.
You just keep driving.
But you're still moving toward your destination.
So how does it handle that migration without, losing any data or interrupting any of those transactions that are going on?
It's all about coordination and state management.
Okay.
So TiProxy keeps track of all the active connections and the state of each transaction.
Okay.
So when it needs to migrate a connection, it waits for any in-flight transactions to complete. And then it transfers all the necessary session information to that new server. So the users don't experience any interruption or any data loss.
So it's like seamless, it's like nothing's even happening. So much is going on behind the scenes. It's crazy.
It's a lot of work behind the scenes.
But this seamless operation isn't just limited to upgrades, right?
Absolutely not.
Like this is happening all the time.
Yeah. So take load balancing, for example.
Okay.
TiProxy is constantly monitoring the load on each TiDB server.
Okay.
Making sure that no single server gets overwhelmed. It distributes queries intelligently, considering things like server capacity, network latency, and even the type of query that's coming in.
So it's smart.
Yeah.
It knows what it's doing.
Yeah, it knows what it's doing.
That's pretty cool. So if one server is getting overloaded, TiProxy's like, hey, let me send this over to another server that's got a little more capacity.
Precisely.
That's all.
And it does it all automatically.
Wow.
Constantly adjusting to the changing demands of the application.
Okay. I'm starting to see why this is such a critical part of TiDB.
It's really the heart of it all.
But I'm curious about another feature that you mentioned earlier, connection persistence.
Oh, yeah.
Can you talk more about that? Like what happens if, despite all these precautions, a server does go down?
So that's where connection persistence becomes a lifesaver.
Okay.
Let me tell you about an incident that we had a while back. One of our servers experienced a hardware failure.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it just went offline completely abruptly. Without TiProxy, all the applications that were connected to that server would have received error messages and they would lost their connections.
Yeah, that would be bad.
But because we had TiProxy in place, it automatically detected that failure.
Smart.
And it rerouted all of those connections to the other healthy servers.
Nice.
So the applications, they experienced a brief pause.
Yeah?
But they reconnected almost instantly.
Wow.
And most importantly, no data was lost.
So it was like a little blip.
Yeah, just a tiny blip.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So TiProxy isn't just about seamless upgrades. It's about making sure that your applications stay up and running.
Absolutely.
Even if something unexpected happens.
You could almost think of it like a safety net for your entire database infrastructure.
So just to recap for everyone listening, TiProxy lets us do these zero downtime upgrades. It balances the load across all these different servers.
Yeah.
And provides that connection persistence to make sure that, everything's running smoothly.
Yeah.
Even if a server fails.
It's peace of mind.
Yeah.
Knowing that your applications are going to stay connected and your data is safe.
Yeah, and it makes you think, what other systems could benefit from this?
Yeah.
Like imagine if our phones could update in the background.
Exactly.
Without us even knowing. Or if, our computers could update without us having to restart them.
Imagine all the time we would save.
I know, right? So TiProxy shows us that it's possible. And for all of you listening, if you want to learn more about TiDB and TiProxy,
yeah, check it out.
Go explore. There's a ton of really cool information out there.
Yeah, there's a whole world waiting to be discovered.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.